Steve, now that the sporting season has finished across the group, a big sigh of relief, and you've had a bit of a chance to reflect. Your thoughts?
I think just very, very pleased. All clubs have done really well this year. With Bristol City, not quite making the playoffs, but really giving it a good go. Looking good for the future. The Bears really establishing themselves in the Premiership, looking up rather than looking down. And of course the Flyers, so close but so far really at the end of the day, but had a great season all round and gave us some great entertainment.
Well, you mentioned the Flyers there. I mean, they had a similar season almost to the Bears in terms of their league was so tightly contested, wasn't it?
Well, what it's showing is that the quality of basketball is getting higher and higher in the UK, which is great. And it's tight. Anybody can beat anybody, and the difference between the successful teams and the lower teams is very, very slight. So, like all good sport, it's a very thin margin between success and failure, and we just got to keep working now as the Flyers to push them on and get them above that margin and getting that success.
Yeah, I mean, when we think back to when Flyers sort of launched, the crowds, I mean, that must be one of the particularly pleasing things, is just to see how well the Bristol public have adopted basketball.
Oh, it's been amazing. I mean, it shows how captivating sport can be, and something like basketball. I mean, it's a full age range. That's what gets me. I mean, the kids love it. I mean, and you go along to the Flyers game and before and after on the court, and they're talking to the players and so on. But it's the elder statespeople like myself who go along and wave the finger in the air and all the various other things to support the team and chant and just gets a great atmosphere. So it just adds to the family of sport because it's a great family occasion.
And of course we're sitting here in the top floor of the Lansdown stand. We can look out over the prospective site that the Flyers hopefully will have a new home in.
And I mean, I think that's great for the Flyers and great for basketball in Bristol as well, to be able to look forward to a new venue, a home of their own. One that is purpose-built for them to attract decent crowds that will generate the revenues to give them the revenue to be successful in going forward, and to attract the business sponsors and other events in as well. So yes, I mean, it's exciting times down here at Ashton Gate, and can't wait for that to start happening. It seems to be taking an awful long time to get going, but I know there's a lot of work's going on.
Well, you talk about attracting sponsors. This year, looking ahead, 24 sponsors, partners, 10 of which are new to Flyers. I mean, that is really the example of this multi-sport approach working.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the early days of Bristol Sport, it was sort of, we'll find something for you to support in sporting terms, and because when you're just selling football, you one trick pony. So to give the people the options, and what is happening is that people are coming in experiencing maybe the Lansdown club, or maybe just experiencing doing a small investment sponsorship with the Bears or with the Flyers, and suddenly finding they get a real taste for it. And most importantly, it's their employees and their staff that really enjoy getting involved with it, and their customers, because we've just talked about the Flyers. You go along to the Flyers, you can't help but enjoy yourself. It's compulsory. You get there and there's a buzz, and it's exciting, and it's quick, and it's fast, and it's not too long either. So it ticks all the boxes for a great night out and for good business relationships.
Well, I guess reflecting back on last season, a company that we should mention, RSG, and particularly Mike Beasley, of course, coming across from football, having previously been involved as a front of shirt football sponsor, and then being Flyers front of shirt. I mean, their involvement has been fantastic, hasn't it, over the years?
I mean, it's been tremendous. I mean, they've been a great supporter of all sport and everything that, if like, I've been involved with, and can't thank them enough for what they've done. But I think even they learnt the lesson that suddenly it wasn't just football, or it wasn't just you can combine them all, and I mean, Mike in particular, and therefore RSG, have taken to the Flyers like nobody, and really got them on the map, really. And I think that we talk about the new sponsors coming in and the new attraction. They've helped build that business case and go out there and promote it. It's not just what they do in spend terms; it's what they do in telling the Bristol business public what the benefits are, and to get involved. And they've done a great job, and thank them very much.
And of course, benefits, Mike has often spoken about being twofold, not just the benefits that it brings commercially to your business in terms of taking out that advertising, but actually from an employee satisfaction point of view, because I think that's one of the big things that a lot of sponsors that are involved with Flyers discover, that actually a lot of their staff love coming to, when perhaps they might not necessarily want to choose football or rugby.
Absolutely. And I said, we can find a sport for you. That's the point, and that's why the Bristol Sport brand will need to expand over a period of time into other sports, and which it is really through the community work that's going on. But in general terms, and basketball is just a prime example. And I've said it to Murmur, you've got to go along, because people say, oh, I don't get time to do it. It doesn't take very long. Go and do it once, because you'll keep wanting to do it, and your staff will, and it just creates goodwill in the company, and you get better returns out of your employees, which can't be bad as an employer. So all good stuff.
And just finally, looking ahead to next season, of course, the Flyers were desperately disappointed to not make the playoffs this season. But of course, there is so much buzz around that team. You know, sellouts throughout the season, such a tight finish, and of course, the prospect of the new sports and convention.
Absolutely, and I think just one comment on the players themselves and obviously the management team. You know, they're good people. And they're great people. There's no airs and graces. You know, they embrace what we're doing. They embrace the community they're operating in. They do a lot of good work in the community, and it's just everything you want from a Bristol Sport company, if you like, to be given as much back as they get themselves from the Bristol public.